All right, all right. We are back for episode number 3, and we are excited. We have a special guest today. And here we are. The Pit and Process podcast is based on the concepts and teachings of our founder, the late, great Claudine Phillips. She believed that God had a special, unique plan for each of us. She also believed that with each plan came a journey, a process that we had to go through to get ready, prepared, and equipped to walk into our destiny of greatness. In regards to the pit, we all know the story of Joseph. He had a dream. He was favored by his father, but resented by his brothers. He was thrown into a pit before being sold into slavery. We want to focus on the pit, that dark place. It could be physical, it could be mental, moments of uncertainty and despair. You have a dream where you seem like you're so far away from it. How do you move forward? So we welcome you to the Pit and the Process podcast. So we have an amazing guest. If you didn't know her, you're going to know her. The world's going to know her. Amazing bio. I had no idea she did all this. Nobody. And I mean, on the defense team, that's just awesome, awesome. So Laura McGill is a creative and innovative professional with over 10 years of experience in higher education, a knowledgeable team builder with over 13 years of experience in the security industry, with excellent leadership and administrative skill set. She is passionate about forming a trust with law enforcement and the community, albeit a strong advocate for social justice, equality, diversity, and inclusion. In 2009, Laura began her law enforcement career with a police department as the only African-American woman within the sworn police officers. It is through this experience she developed a passion for advocacy and equality in law enforcement, working in one of the largest Pennsylvania state institutions in higher education. She also established programs to promote trust and engagement within the campus community. Having a strong dedication as a police officer, she continues to be a mentor to students and serves as an advisor to one of the student organizations. This commitment and dedication instigated a promotion in 2016, where she earned the rank of detective and has served as the lead investigator of the Criminal Investigation Unit and Training Unit. In 2020, this is recent, she was promoted to the rank of lieutenant and assistant director of the public safety, being the first woman to hold a leadership position in this history of her police department, and the first African-American woman to hold that rank in Chester County. So we have a legend before us, you know what I mean? So let's give a warm welcome. Warm welcome. Before we begin, you didn't make any of this up, did you? All this is real, right? I'm joking.
No.
She made some of it up. She made some of it up.
Yo, that's phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, I read that thing and I said, wow, I got some questions.
I knew you all these years and I didn't know all that.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Over 20 years, 20, 30 years. I just thought you was a teacher.
Wow. Yeah, well, technically, you can say that. Both of your
We used to hold the truck to go to work, remember? At the school.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That was, wow. That was about 15, almost about 20 years ago.
Yeah, around West Philly.
18,
around
yeah.
the corner. Yeah.
About 18 years ago, that was.
Man,
Came a
I
long
had to
way.
watch you grow. I had to watch you grow.
You better be older, a lot older too. Talking like
Watch
Thank you guys for having me.
It's an honor. It's an honor.
It's an honor.
It's an honor. So meet
You in your office?
I am still at work. So at any moment, somebody can knock on this door and have a question. That radio could go off at any moment. Anything's liable to happen. So, because I am.
Well, you gotta take the camera with you and do like cops. And you just sit here and just see what's going on.
Got you. Well, consider this a whole laptop. I don't know if that's possible, but
it's not even noticeable.
Just in case there is a knock at the door or something, because they don't understand if the door, they don't understand the door is closed. That means, you don't want to be bothered, not here. So, just for a disclaimer, things can happen. But y'all be the first to know something happen because the radio will go. And I had
All
to
for it. I'm
You
all
come
for it.
through, man.
I appreciate it. It was either this or I was gonna be driving in my car, which is
And we don't want
not
that.
safe.
We glad you in the office.
So, but yeah, appreciate you guys for inviting me to the Pit and Process podcast. Very dope.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
appreciate you. We're gonna just jump right in. Like, my question is, why did you even want to be a cop?
Oh wow.
Because I always thought you was better at teaching. Well, I mean, you know, the students and stuff, and the next thing you know, boom, you're a whole detective now.
Yeah. Well, for starters, well, I always had a love for teaching. I just didn't. I didn't want no student loan. Amen. So I said this school thing, I didn't, and I also didn't have the attention span to at that age to go to school, to stay in school and still work. It was either work and have money or sacrifice all this time and go to college. So it was just like it didn't make sense to me at the time. It makes a lot of sense now, but at the time it just didn't. So I kind of put teaching on the back burner. And also, if I was looking at income, teachers don't make a lot of money. So I was just like, yeah, no, like I'm about to be in debt 50, 60 grand to go to school and they making 45, like, no. So I just had to weigh my pros and cons a little bit. And then I didn't really want to teach forever, like just be tied to a classroom. I know I'm more effective outside of it. But the kids and the babies, they will always be that will always be my thing. But since I was younger, so I will compliment my desire to be a police officer to officer, they were twins, Officer Haggett. And he was my, both him and his twin sister, they were the school police, they were Philadelphia police officers who was assigned to Simon Gratz High School, Bulldog, class of 2003. They were assigned to my school, and they were the coolest cops I had ever known. Like they kept me out of trouble. What you call it, truancy. I was popped for truancy quite a few times. I used to leave school, but Mr. Haggett and Miss Haggett, they used to always look out for me. But my family, the upbringing of my family had such a negative interaction with police officers. No one in my family wanted me to do it. So I always was the third and never wanted to do it. And they were like, dangerous, you could die. They named everything possible. So in 2009, it was 2008. I went through the entire police academy and didn't say anything to anybody. I just went, a few people knew that I was going, but I went January, graduating in December. And I went throughout the whole thing. I didn't tell anybody. I just did it in silence because I wanted to always do it. Before, when I applied for Philly PD, my mom was throwing away the acceptance mail. So I never knew I had got in. So one day my cousin graduated from the police academy in the county, and I was just like, and everybody, my family showed up, everybody was hyped. I was like, wait, so y'all hyped for me to go. Yeah. But y'all ain't hyped for me to go. Oh, all right. So I just, all right, bet. So he gave me the different information he used, and I just went. And I think I graduated in December, and I didn't tell like my mom and them until like October or November. I was so far into it that it was nothing that anybody could say to. I was almost done at that point. So, and I always wanted to do it. But for the most part, like then it was, the uniform, it was helping people. I know Mr. Haggett and Miss Haggett, they were like, and it's funny because I met their son at Westchester University, and we were talking, and I looked at his last name, and he was just like, no, it was like an interaction. I was just like, man, let me come holler at you for a second. So he came to my office, I was a detective at the time. And I was just like, what happened? So he's breaking down what happened. He had an interaction with the police officer. He was like, I don't have nothing against cops because my dad is a cop. So I looked at his last name. I said, what's your dad's last name? And he said his dad first name. I made him call his dad on FaceTime. And his dad, I was so horrible in high school. So his dad never would believe that I was a police officer. And that was like a couple years ago, right before COVID. So, I wanted to make an impact in the community and help people. And, it's like you get the best of both worlds. It's like a superhero in a sense. So I went
You said that you got accepted into the police, Philadelphia
yeah,
police, but you went to the county, right?
yeah.
So which one do you like now that you look? Are you glad you didn't get accepted to the Philadelphia? You didn't. I mean, not accepted, but you glad you didn't choose the Philly or the suburbs? Which one you prefer?
Well, being out in the suburbs, and I've worked with Philadelphia. I still do. Like I still, if they need, assistance or whatever, we still like George Floyd and all that. We had to go out there, and we were helping as well. But at the same time, it's for me out in the suburbs, we have more resources. We got different training. We all got the same basic foundation. But training, like I go to any training I want to go to right now, whether they fly me out, whether it doesn't matter. Like our equipment, all my equipment is brand new, is no hand-me-downs. We have assault rifles in our vehicles. Philadelphia don't have that. So I feel like if I went to Philadelphia now, I would have to kind of dummy myself down a little bit because I'm more trained out here than I would be in Philadelphia. But I think just because of the amount of people in the population of Philadelphia, I think I would be more effective in Philly just because of the way Philadelphia is now. Now, then it was all about a paycheck. I wasn't even seeing through the lens I see through now. Back then, they really ain't paying enough. So that was a hard no. But now it's like more like, how can we push change sort of. So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm grateful. Yes, at the training and amount of training and stuff that we do get out here, yes, but at the same time, it really doesn't matter where I work. It's
So being like on both sides of the African American and then with the races and everything that's going on. So it's like both for you because you're a cop and then you deal with like certain different things. So how do you deal with it? Like I know like probably people in your department probably agree with certain things and you agree with certain things. Like anything ever come up and you just be like, no, I don't agree with it. And they agree with it. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like, well, first you got to be able to say things like it is. A lot of times, and not just in this career field, but in all of them, everybody dance around certain issues. Like, oh, can't say that, can't do this, can't do that. Like, no, you got to be able to be confident enough to be able to say, like, I don't agree with that, and why. It's not, I don't agree with it because society don't agree with it, or I don't agree with it because people out here protesting. No, I don't agree with it because this is my own personal belief. So I can use George Floyd for an example. I don't believe that Derek Chauvin, I don't believe that that was not wrong. I don't believe that what he did. I don't believe what he did was right. I don't believe what Derek Chauvin did was right. I don't believe, in the eyes of the law enforcement bubble, I don't believe that what he did was right. It doesn't align with anything that we're taught. So when it happened, and everybody Monday morning quarterback something, everybody gets the opportunity to rewind something, slow it down, look at the back, look what's going on in the background. Everybody get to play detective after the fact. But when I come to work, it's on every screen, in our building, and there's quite a lot. And we talk about it. So when it gets to that round table conversation and say, well, how do you feel about it? I think he's wrong. I think, like, at what point do you think kneeling on somebody's neck is appropriate, especially when they're not resisting and his hands are tied, as his hands are cupped behind his back. So, but you have to be able to talk about these things in context. So for me, it's taking the layers of the situation, what I see, not what I feel, because we gotta talk with facts, not feelings. Because I know how I'm impacted by it emotionally, but I'm gonna look at it this way. Nobody's taught that. So that's number one. Number two, he's not a threat to you because he's laying on the ground and his hands are behind him. So now we got to walk through the justification piece. So I give them the opportunity, if they believe that it's right, then you got to tell me why. So it's just a matter of how, it's just almost like boxing. You get in the ring, you got to be able to handle the weight that come behind that punch. It is what it is. It's like you don't engage in these conversations unless you're ready for somebody else's opinion. And just because it's their opinion is how they feel. It shouldn't make or break how I feel, but it's what a dialogue is about. So those conversations and situations, which unfortunately they're more prevalent than not, you have to be able to engage it in a way where you're not offended if someone like legit stands up and like, I think Derek showed me he was good. So someone said it in the room, you got to be willing to be able to be like, oh, all right, that's solid. This is how I feel. We got to walk through it.
Anytime in your life or your career, you just want to give up. Like, you know what, I can't do this no more.
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
How did you get through it?
Plenty of times. There were times when I was just like, this for birds. You could have this. Like, I came out in Westchester 2008, 2009. I was only black female in a uniform. Wow. I was like a show puppet. Like, everybody was trying to come and see me, and my hair was blonde at the time. So everybody's looking for the blonde cop, the blonde hair black girl. And it's just like, what? I'm like, wow, cops coming from everywhere. Like, they've never seen a black woman before.
You're a unicorn.
I'm talking about 2009. That's not that long ago. So I'm like, what is going on? And we got computers in our car. It's almost like you can use it like a phone, and you could send each other messages and whatever. So they're like, oh, you going to Wawa? We see you at Wawa, whatever. And they're coming to Wawa. And I'm like, now I found out later down the road, like, oh, they wanted to see the black girl that's working. I'm like, what? So it was a good level of being uncomfortable. At the same time, I met a different level of racism here. So it was just like, I had to comprehend that you legit don't like me because of the color of my skin. I'm not talking about the community. I'm talking about the people I work with. Like, you don't like me because I'm black. I ain't do nothing to you. I just got here. Like, you don't even know that I put hot sauce on all my food. Like, you don't know nothing about me yet, and you don't like me. So it was like, I learned all that. And it was at one point, it was just like, y'all could chalk this. But then I realized that, so one, I don't believe in leaving something without something to go, something else to fall back on. So I was putting in transfer and trying to apply to get out and do and go to other departments. And as fast as I was signing applications to get up out of here, as fast as the Lord was just shutting the door. It was like he ain't even allowed to open for real. So I guess because of my spiritual upbringing and the fact that I believe in God, then I had to sit back and say, okay, Lord, I'm not crazy. I've never not been able to get a job. You're gonna have to help me with this. And I was trying to apply different places. At one point, I even was trying to get out of police work, period. And it was not happy. People was all of a sudden hiring freezes. They couldn't hire because of their budget. It was stuff coming out of everywhere. And I was just like, I walked out of job interviews with the job. And the day before or the day of I was gonna put my 2 weeks in, I would get a call or email like, oh, we got a hiring freeze. Oh, we got a phone call from HR that said we can't hire at the moment. We got to start hiring up again in 6 months because of whatever happened. So it's just like, I'm not gonna quit. What I'm gonna do? That'd be jobless because these people are something's wrong with them or they're racist. Oh, this was 2009. Until this was 2009 until 2016.
All right, so stop right there. So, but in 16 you got promoted, right? So along the way, you were actually talk about how you were trying to leave, but you got promoted. So that means you had to be doing something that was right along the way. Talk about what you were doing, how to be successful, even when you kind of wanted to get out of it, but you still were doing a heck of a job because of the fact that you got an awesome promotion. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it's sort of kind of like how it is in basketball. You know, I played ball, until my health just wasn't working in my favor with asthma, where I couldn't play a sport no more.
Right.
So when I was on the basketball, when I would show up on the basketball the very first time, especially around 33rd Street where I'm from, when I show up on the basketball court, before anybody even knew I could dribble a ball, a game of pick me up. Ain't nobody picking me. I'm this big.
I still don't pick you.
With a long ponytail. Ain't nobody coming. Ain't nobody picking this chick right here. So I was still on the bench. I would sit on the bench and just wait my turn. And one time, one of the guys, something happened with one of the guys, and they put me in the game. After that, I've never had a problem.
Wow.
After that, I could be get coming out my grandma's house. They like, yo, L, come, I got L, period. One time. It's like Jordan, he wasn't #1 draft pick. He wasn't #1 draft pick at all. He sat on the bench.
Right.
We'll put him in that game one time, it's over. They're gonna make you wonder why this man been sitting on his bench for so long. So I feel like the entire time from 2009 to 2016, especially once I realized, again, I just believe you just have to have the ability to step outside of the situation and say, why, God, we got to talk to God. That's what prayer is. God, why am I in this? And how the heck do I get out of it? So I had to look at it, and I saw like a pole, like a totem pole, if you will. And this is like, I'm at the bottom of the food chain. People at the top is still coming at me. Why are y'all so concerned about me down here? I don't got no rank. I just got here. I don't know what it is, but y'all keep knocking me down every time I get up. Okay, so I had to ask myself, like, they must see something in me that I have yet to recognize. So I was like, all right, cool. So what I did was for years, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, to put my foot on the gas.
Wow.
2010, I let the windows down. 2011, sunroof came back. You know what I'm saying? So I just got more comfortable in my opposition and learned how to play according to the plays that was against me. And so I actually, 2016, I got promoted. 2014 is when I applied. So 2014, I applied, the position was open, mind you, I didn't know about it. I didn't care, I had no intentions on putting in for it. Down the chief of police, we have a dispatch center. And there are times where the officers we got to say dispatch if the dispatcher is off or if they don't have a dispatcher to cover it. We have to cover that. So one day I was doing day work from between 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. I was sitting at the desk. Chief of police came in. Now there's 3 people. There's 3 levels before you get to the 4 levels before you get to the chief. So he came in. One of our dispatchers, she makes she home cooks, makes baked goods for us every day. To this day, she still does it. So all the cookies and stuff is in dispatch. So one day he came in dispatch. I'm sitting at the desk. He's like behind me, leaning on the file cabinet. And he said, McGill, you see the investigator position is open? I was like, I heard about it. And he was just like, I think you should put in for it. I was like, Now, mind you, I'm not thinking about this. I was like 2014, I only been here a couple of years. I still don't, looking at my competition, I'm good. So he was like, I really think you should put in for it. And he kind of tapped me on the shoulder and he walked out. So at this point, I'm hyped. I'm like, oh, wow, the chief came in. He said, da-da-da. So your boss's boss come in the door and say, you should put in for something. What y'all want to do?
Go for it.
Go for it. I did all the things. I I put in for it. Interview. I mean, I walked in. They used to see me with uniform on. Not that the hair was down, had a pump on. I was ready. I was like, I'm getting this position today. Went in, nailed the interview. To this day, they still tell me that I'm the only one that went through that interview like that. We didn't hear nothing else about the position, like nothing. Next thing you know, about 4 or 5 days later, we get an email that say, I want y'all to give a warm congratulations to officer, so-and-so for being promoted to the rank of detective. Now, it was about 6 or 7 of us that applied for. We all were like, I didn't get the second interview. Did you get a second interview? Everybody was like, just no. It was like, and this fool had just came back. Like, it wasn't like he, worked and grinded out with us. He had just came back to the department. So we're like, okay, this is when 2014 is when I realized it was confirmation for me that this was a good old boy stuff. I was like, oh, okay, that's what it was. So
how'd you feel at that moment? How'd you feel? Did you feel like, all right, this was a dream I wanted this and it was delayed? Did you use it as motivation to move forward? It was a time frame where you say, you know what, the heck with this, or what happened?
I was between discouraged. I didn't even see the motivation in it at that point. I was discouraged for the most part, like they didn't go through this process. Like, what's the point? And it wasn't like, if it was just me, I would have been like, oh, this is about me. But it was like all the people, all the applicants, like none of us got it, but this clown that they brought back. So we were just like, he's a straight clown. So we were like, all right, cool. But it wasn't until like now where the women's locker room is, the chief's office is literally right across the hallway. The walls are thin, I can hear. And then the hallway, everybody goes back, all the officers are going back and forth in the hallway. So I was in the bathroom getting dressed, maybe, or in the locker room getting dressed maybe a week after that or whatever. And I heard the chief of the police in the hallway talking to another officer, and he said, and I quote, and I will never forget this, they only got McGill to apply so they could have a diverse pool.
Wow.
And I remember putting on my Adidas sweatpants. I ran out of the locker room, and I stood and stared at him in the hallway. I stared at him. It was like an awkward stare for like 10 seconds,
Wow.
just for him to know that I heard what he said. I looked at, and I was like in my North Philly bag at the time. I looked them up and down and just walked away. So at that point, I remember getting in my car and I put my middle finger up, like, I'm good. Like, I'm done. Like, what type of, and I was mad at God. I was mad at everything. I'm like, why would you have hyped me up to, this is dumb. So I was just like, I'm out. And I got aggressive in trying to get out of this department. Like I'm talking about, I was putting applications at Home Depot, you name it. I had to go. And it didn't work out. It just did not work out. It just didn't work out. And I remember I was on the phone with my best friend, Tiffany, and I was mad. I was actually in a patrol car. I was crying. I remember driving around on patrol. I had Tiffany on speakerphone on the dashboard, and I was just like, I'm failing at something. God keep having me go through this test, and I was like, I just got to pass it. And then I remember the next Sunday, I went to church, and then my pastor preached a message, and he said, if you want to know how to beat the enemy, just be kind to him. And I said, he said, when you get to work tomorrow, just say good morning. I said, I'm not saying good morning to none of these people over here. I don't care if they have a good morning or not. So from that Monday, no, it took me a while to still say good morning to him. So I think a couple weeks later, I walked in, I said good morning to one of the sergeants, and he was at the desk. And I said good morning to him, and he turned about as red as a fire truck. And I said, got y'all now. So since that day, I've been kind. And in 2016, and I just was moving in silence. So I didn't go to college. I just didn't. Everybody I worked with to this date did. Everybody I worked with did. So I'm looking at myself versus everybody, different races who had college education versus this little Black girl who don't have none of that. So I began to apply for different trainings and certifications. I said, I gotta find out what y'all don't have. In every area they didn't have, I got certified in. So 2016, when I officially was going to put my 2-week notice in, and no one knew. I was going to another police department. They were actually going to, because of my years of experience, they were going to bring me in as a sergeant. And something happened like right before I got changed. I just heard one of the sergeants like air me out. We had a new captain at the time. And you know how you get a new boss, everybody try to snooze up to the boss. And I remember coming out the locker room and was just like, no, I was cussing and everything. I was like, man, it was a wrap. And then the captain was like, McGill, calm down. I was like, no, I just like was throwing up words. I was like, they racist, I'm tired of it. Mind you, I got a 2-week notice in my pocket. To this day, if you open up my locker, it's taped to the inside of my locker, the date and everything, where I was going to put it. It's still in the envelope and everything. So it was in my back pocket. I was about to get handed to him. And I was just like, I'm tired of this. It's like, y'all, this is a racist police department. And I went in, I was naming situations and all kind of stuff. And he went and got the chief of police. And that was the first time I was able to have an honest conversation with the chief. And I let him have it. We went back and forth with one another. And I was like, somebody gonna die, somebody's this, that, and the third, because these people, it's not fair what y'all doing. And he literally looked at me at the time, so in between 2014 and 16, the guy that got the detective position over all of us, he was asked to leave. He was asked to leave work. So that position was then vacant for a little bit. And then that day in the chief's office, or the captain's office, the chief was just like, McGill, you know, the position is open and is vacant right now. I said, you're not getting me again with that, like that. And he was just like, no, I'm gonna put you in the position because I think you can help change this place. And I still was just like, whatever, dude. And then I walked away. And he was like, you hear what I said? I said, I don't care. It's like, it was a thing.
Like a movie, like a movie.
It was just like a movie. So 2014, I applied for it, didn't get it. In 2016, I was put in a position. And that's when I decided to stay. And yeah, it's just about putting your head to the plow and just not lifting it up until you get busy and get the work done at the end of the day. The folder.
So what's next for you? So what's next for you?
I don't even know. All of this, anything that from detective on, actually detective for me was where I thought I was gonna end everything. It was done. I can hang my head up, did it. However, the lieutenant was that was a surprise. So I honestly don't know. I don't know. I'm not looking to be nobody's chief of police, but I wasn't looking to be nobody's lieutenant either. So I don't know. I go as high as the Lord allows. But wherever I go, as long as I can continue to affect change between law enforcement and the community, I'm all for it.
Let me ask you, what kind of like the programs you were doing to establish and promote trust and engagement? Talk about that. Like what are you doing and what have you done to kind of to build that up?
Oh, well, it's simple. So we take a lot of stuff we learned from the chief of police and the mayor over at Camden, because they've done a lot of they dismantled their entire police department and put it back together. So the whole Camden County didn't have a police department for about a year.
Wow.
The chief of police came in there, he fired all the cops. And if you wanted to work there, you had to reapply. Well, one of the first things they have to do as part of their training process when they become police officers in Camden, one of the first things they have to do is they have to go around the neighborhood and they have to engage in the community. They have to learn the community. It's like a whole questionnaire that they have to fill out, but they are assigned to the community that they have to serve. And also the neighbors, the community evaluate the new officer on how they were in the community. So we take a lot of things from Camden PD. So they're with all of our new officers and the officers that we have, they have to go out into the community. So we put on community events. We participate in all of them. We, like prime example at Westchester University, here at the college, what we do is all of the Black Student Union events, and when they have dances and everything like that, I'm typically the person that is meeting with them to make sure they have what they need. We are the liaison between, the police department, the community. We have a thing that's called like lunch with the, it's called the Lunchbox series, where we go to the main building where they have like the dining facilities at the university. And we take up the dining hall and we sit there and we have lunch with the college students. And they ask them all kind of questions, and it's just raw and real as you could possibly get. They be all in. I'm talking about why y'all killing people, like that type of environment. While they eating Chick-fil-A, we're like, okay, you know what I mean. So we do stuff like that where we put ourselves in their environment or in the community, put ourselves there, because people are not coming to the police to the police. Period. So we have to.
They don't trust the cops.
Yeah, and rightfully so. It's not like police gives, some police officers give people the reason not to. So, we created that series. I'm constantly speaking at the college. I'm constantly, even in Philadelphia, I participate in all kind of, from high school, middle schools, all the way through colleges. I'm partnered with Philadelphia Police Department. So we do a lot of things together, but we're out there in the community. I ask questions, I answer questions. Even like I put myself in the worst possible situations, like George Floyd, for example. We out there and they pointing fingers. They are as disgruntled and mad as possible, which is fine. But I'm out there talking to people and educating people, hearing them out. And because for the most part, people just want you to listen to them. So we participate in programs. And then we have now we have a board where if the officers get a complaint, it's not the police officers that are reviewing it to see if the officer is wrong or not. We have members from the community that participate in it. So they like, yeah, so it's like, and we go to members of the community, members from the college, members from the senior level administration from the police department, where we sit down and we talk about it collectively. And we also meet with the person who is offended or who wrote the complaint, because I've dealt with that. So this is October, quite a few times since from September to now, especially.
You got a complaint?
I mean, I get complaints all the time because it's like I'm not sugarcoating anything. Two, I'm not gonna let nobody just talk to me all crazy just because you have freedom of speech. That's not happening. And thirdly, people are gonna write a complaint when you don't give them the answer that they want. Right. And I just been holding people accountable. So if someone has a complaint against an officer, I'm not negating the fact that this officer could have done that. But at the same time, we have to walk through like how we got here. So and most of the time that's ownership on both sides. And we walk through this way. So some people don't like it, but it's, you know, we cross those bridges when we get there.
So you start ministering too and being a cop.
I am. That is very true. That is very true. Yeah, 2018. What was COVID? 2020 or 2019. I was licensed and ordained as a minister. So yeah, I still do both. So I can still teach, preach, because the gift doesn't leave me. And still in this law enforcement career bubble that I'm in.
That's phenomenal.
So yeah, it works.
I think that you were going to be successful because I look at even when you first started, you know, how you, of course, I think your family meant well, right? Because they probably didn't want you to go in that direction, but you know, you had a goal for yourself, you had a dream for yourself, you had a vision for yourself, but sometimes you just can't let anybody get in your way, even if it's unintentional. And I see how I think just because of that alone, the beginning of your story, you gotta break through and have crazy success, because it's like you just, I mean, like to do that, like going back to the very beginning, to do that while no one knew about it, and you just kept going about it every single day. I think that's a story in itself for people really to, you know, really catch a hold to, you know.
Yeah, if you want something bad enough, nobody's giving it, especially now. And it's more easier now than it was then, just because technology has advanced. But you got to be willing to, I just met with a group of students doing Westchester University's homecoming. And I was just like, they were amazed at the fact that I did not go to school or higher education. They were amazed at that alone. I teach in colleges now, and I don't have a degree. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just like when you want it bad enough, you market, you go after it, you go hard to where they beat you.
Wow.
And it's like, you know, I'm willing to have the hard conversations and the talk, and especially now being a woman in law enforcement, is not that many women in law enforcement nowhere. So it's like, you got to use it, you know, for your own, you know, advantage. So I feel like, especially the younger generation, where everybody they're born out like this. Everybody's giving them everything. They don't come with the same kind of hustle that, you know, most of us we had to have. Like my mom was not giving me nothing because it's four of us. You understand what I'm saying? Versus like, you know, like Demetrius like yourself, or, you know, where I'm gonna give my kids because I didn't have it. Versus my mom was just like, I ain't have it or not. I'm still not giving it, like, because it's for y'all. And I'm a single parent out here by myself. So I think we kind of born with a different hustle that this generation don't know about necessarily. And it's easy because we got cell phones nowadays.
Yeah.
So I
True.
upload my video and hopefully a couple people see it and repost it, then I'm golden. Whereas this career path is not a repostable situation. So I just feel like whatever you want to do in life, all you got to do is put your foot to the and not look up until you get to your destination. And I don't think that's
Well,
you know, well, if you're driving a Tesla, you don't. They
Yeah,
got,
that's true.
they got the sensors on.
That's true.
You know, it depends on what you're riding it.
That's true.
That's
So
good.
you don't want to be like the commissioner or nothing, like like the I don't know the Philadelphia lady name. I don't know her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, and that's not necessarily something I'm going to run to. I won't like I accepted this position. When I talked to the chief of police, it was very clear. I'm not a token. I'm not that token woman. You're not just going to posterize me and just say, oh, look what we got. Yeah, I'm not that. Y'all can find somebody else to do that. If I cannot be in a position where I can promote and affect some type of change, like I got to be unrestricted. Like if this has to be done, like if this officer has to be put in their place, y'all have to release me to do that. Like I'm not coloring in no lines because people are dying. Lives are at stake. So if I can't be in a position where I can promote and affect some level of change, Philadelphia is very politic. God bless Danielle, seriously, because she's up against a lot. But at the same time, it's not something I will run towards. If the Lord put me in the seat, that's because he's given me the grace to complete whatever task is at hand. So I just have to yield to that. But at the same time, that's something I wouldn't run to because she's not free to do what she really wants to do, whatever. She's up against a lot. It is political. But at the same time, like, I'm not signing up for it. Nope.
Yeah.
I work behind the scenes and still get to have conversations and meetings and where you can see results almost as fast as the meeting is over, and you're able to pour into police officers. Like I can still do that. I still go to the police academy and pour into these cadets that they don't even know what they're getting themselves into. I'm still able to do that. I don't ever want to not be able to do that. So it's just a matter of where I get the most freedom in whatever my role is and how I'm being the most effective. But I'm not really turned on by titles and all of that. The bigger the check, the bigger the headache. That's what I tell people. So I'm cool with the headache I got now. I'm not running towards the big. Nah. So I don't know how far I'm gonna go. That's not in my hands at any. After 2020, December 2020, with this whole lieutenant situation, I just fully took my hands off of whatever I thought I was in control with. Whatever God says at this point is what I will do. But you won't see me applying.
So you'll recommend me. So one of your family members wanted to be a cop. You'll recommend it, or what would you say?
If they wanted to do it, it's first of all we had to talk about if they understand what it consists of, and we talk about the why, like why you want to do it, and to make sure they have the backbone. This job is you got to have the backbone for everything. Like people think you got to have the backbone, the backbone or the grit to stand up against the crime or the suspects or the perpetrators, if you will. Yeah, no, you got to have backbone and grit for inside, for outside, for all of the nuances around that. Because you can be I'm 100% effective in the community, and you can be not effective at all in the department, or you can have all the respect from the community, which I had for years, and no respect out of the department. So it's just like, what do you do when you come to work and you trust the people that you protected, or trusted to serve?
True.
Trust the people that you're trusted to serve with. Everybody don't have the backbone for that. So if they, especially a family member that I know is not, no, I'd be like, just girl, don't waste your time. But if you have the grit and if you have the grit to stand up to a lot, then I will recommend it. It's a great job. I feel like every day I'm somebody different. One day I'm a psychologist, another day I'm a mental health therapist. I've been talked more people than I can count, unfortunately, from committing suicide. I'm talking about, I don't have the privilege like the next minute from now, I don't know anything can happen. You got to be on go. You got to be ready to move and be able to handle the situation. So every day it's a different box of experiences and situations that you just got to be prepared for. So that's the joy of it. You just don't know what you're going to get. but knowing that people
I do
trust
believe
you,
you gotta have. I do believe you gotta have a background for it because I don't have the patience.
you gotta have a lot. People don't. I've dealt with more people that I can't stand. I'll be like, you don't even know me. You don't know nothing
It's the
about me. You can't
uniform.
stand me. And then by the time I'm done talking to them, they're like, oh, you cool. I'm like, all
It's
right.
the uniform. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And
I
like
think
now,
about-
it's just like,
I think
you know,
about I think about how you were probably in 09, 08, I mean 09, 2010, and your attitude, your behavior, how you handle things isn't how you are right now. So I believe what you went through along that way now allows you to be, successful where you are right now. And it's crazy how probably the Laura in 2012 probably would have been able to do what you're doing now.
absolutely not.
You had to go through your process to get to where you are now. I think it's pretty a good testimony.
Yeah, it's just almost the same as the title of you guys' podcast. You know, if we want to talk biblically, Joseph got all of his experiences from the pit. He would have never got thrown in that pit. He wouldn't have been able to reign, period. Because you have to be lied on, you got to be talked about, you got to go through this and sold and all of that to be able to withstand under the weight of what success is. Success is nothing but a weight. Everybody can't carry it. It looks good. Like we can talk about 50 Cent. Success looks amazing on this man, from stars to networks to record deals. He all over the place. Books, you name it. That's heavy. That's not nothing light. This man, yes, he get to sleep at night, or he get to sleep well because he can pay his bills. But at the same time, now this man has a plethora of staff members that are relying on his creativity to pay their bills or to feed their families. That's pressure. That this series has to do well, or this artist is not going to be able to feed their family. That's for everybody. That everybody might want to ride around and post up and floss for the gram, but everybody don't have the weight of going to bed at night knowing that you got hundreds of people that you have to, their success is contingent on you not dropping this weight. So I think that if it wasn't for the pit experience, if it wasn't for, like, even when I applied for the position in 2014, walking in it in 2016, I sat at my desk for the first time and recognized that I would have never been able to do this in 2014. I said that. There's no way, because I wasn't being able to have hard conversations. I didn't know how to do without coming off as the angry Black woman. I don't know how to do none of that. That was just like, y'all gonna hear what I got to say today. Now it's just more so I will sit back and let you talk for an hour. And then I'll sit in my chair and say, okay, now with my book of notes, be like, okay, and now this is what we're gonna do. I didn't have that. So you have to go through the hurdles to get, it's almost like the ingredients on this level is nutrients on the next. What I need to make it on this level is what I will need to survive on the next level. So I just felt like without it, and if I could restart it and do it all over again, I would run to do it all over again. I promise you, I would be like, let's go. That's gonna be a headache, but I'm ready for it. But I wouldn't take my experience away. None of them at all. It helped me. Like all the people, as I still work with people that used to talk about me, drag me through the mud, I now supervise. So when they rise up in here and say whatever, I say, you should talk to your supervisor about that. Oh, it's me.
Oh, wait, it's me.
So it's just like, so different things like that now. It's just like, I learned how to treat people because of the way I was treated.
Wow.
I'm not going to, do that. So it's changing culture, changing the process. You don't do that without some type of background. And now, and I'm not the one who witnessed it. I went through it. They witnessed it. So me sitting in the seat I sit in now, they saw me. They sat in locker rooms when people talked about me. Some of them, they joined the party. They paid the fare. They came in, joined the party. So now that I'm here, there's no one in this whole department that can say, oh, somebody gave you that. I was the least likely to succeed. If that was a yearbook picture, I would be the picture next to it, according to them. So I'm just grateful that I had the faith and the courage to not give up, because it was very tough. And you gotta believe in God. You just have to.
I'm glad you didn't give up.
Yeah, And in 2020, December of 2020, when I accepted this position, I was just like, I all of the doors that shut before, it all made sense. In December 18th, 2020, I was just like, wow, the people that I supervise now and what I'm able to do and change, like something that small as like women can wear their earrings to work and we get our fingernails painted. It's not stupid, but like, why? Because, oh, y'all men made these rules. Yeah, no, like my fingernail polish has nothing to do with how I do my job. Neither does these earrings. Child, let us wear earrings and get our nails done. Stuff like that. So it's just, I'm grateful that I just didn't. I just encourage anybody to. Huh?
They can't wear earrings?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you mean while you out on the field?
Oh yeah, when you use your uniform on. Like now, so I just changed the policy. So now you can wear earrings, but you just have to have the rubber back on the back of it, so that you can't get poked in your ear. If something happened, you can't get stabbed in your own ear with your earring. So you just have to have the rubber backing on the back of the end of the earring. That's all. Just change some things around so that we can wear earrings and get our fingers. I don't care if every nail is a different color. Child, that make me no difference. But yeah, it's just, I'm grateful. I encourage everybody.
Gratitude too. The word gratitude. When you say gratitude, like you're grateful, I think that really also is a major thing that's important. When you have a heart of gratitude, then God knows that. And it's like, I'm grateful for what I've gone through. Even though in that time it wasn't pretty, I wasn't happy at times, I wanted to give up, but now I understand what I've gone through and I'm grateful. And I think because with a heart of gratitude, you have to continue to move forward. And I don't mean as far as up, but whatever you have next, it's like you have to have that, because you're not going to change who you are, you're going to get even better. So it's like you have to move forward, but having a heart of gratitude, I think, is really important. I caught that. I think that was good.
Yeah, you find it. You have to find it and realize it. And I tell people, like I just told the young people the other week, I said, you have to talk to God along the way, along the journey. Just picture like a road and just occasionally just stop and say, Lord, first of all, did you forget about me? Because this is a little lonely. I feel like I'm out here by myself, and I need you to help. And ask for advice, and he gives it. I'm an example of that. It was and it comes through different. I love movies, so the Lord will speak to me through movies. Maybe a movie title, I'll be like, oh, that's good. I'll write it down, go in the Bible. I'm that much of a Bible geek. And I'll be like, what does this mean? And why am I keep seeing this? And it's something very simple, like try again. And like, what this woman said, try again in the movie. I said, wow, that was different than if she would have said it any other way. So it's just like, that's how just the Lord speaks to me, songs. And it's just like, I have to sit back and be able to know that I have to do this, even if I don't want to do it. Like speaking to people and saying good morning, something as small as good morning. And we text that thing with ease, good morning. To say it to people that you know don't like you, it took me a month. It took me a month just to say good morning. Because I ain't gonna say it if I don't mean it. But it just took me a month to walk past somebody who I know can't stand the sight of me or the thought of me and say good morning. When that food turned red, I said, he gonna get a good morning.
That was a great thing.
I'm gonna say good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'm all the way. So and it has worked, because you can't. My grandma always told me that if you argue with a fool, how would someone who's watching know the difference between the two? I said, that's very good. So it's like I don't pay it any attention now. It's just a matter of, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just gonna be kind. So now you'll be looking goofy by yourself. But yeah.
That makes sense.
Wow. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
So what made y'all two start a podcast? This is not my podcast, but I figured I'd ask y'all a question.
Yeah, I feel like now tables been turned.
Billy Cat getting on my nerves. Saying
Wow.
no, just I guess just outreach to different people and just see like what's the like what you've been through and how you can help somebody else. Because your story might help the next person that's looking to be a cop, or the next person looking to be a detective, or the next person that's dealing with what you went through, don't know how to deal with it. Now that they heard your story, they'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep fighting. I'm gonna just keep encouraging myself to keep going and don't give up. I'm gonna learn how to bite my tongue and just good morning to that person who don't like me, or hello to that person that don't like me. Now I know if I can just keep running to the end of this race, I'm gonna make it. That's not always gonna be sweet or whatever. It's always gonna be hiccups, or it's always gonna be trials. It's always gonna be something. But now that they hear your story, it get them confidence to be like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Every day we wake up, we never know what's gonna happen. We never know when we walk out these doors or when we driving down the street, like what's gonna happen. But now it's just like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep fighting and keep believing what I believe in. I'm gonna keep pushing for school. I'm gonna keep pushing for that for that job that I really want. That diploma that I really want. I can speak on that. Like I really wanted to get it and I got it. So, you know what I mean? So it's different reasons why we did start it or whatever. And like, I know it's from like our grandma, the pastor, she taught us to like, don't give up. So that's why we started, to help somebody else, or help, just learn and to learn more about different people, our friends, like nobody knew this. Now when they hear your story, they be like, wow, I never knew she went to school all that time and her family didn't know. Girl, did you hear Laura went to school? Yeah, I mean, like, just get our names out there to like help people. That's why we did it. Billy did it to be famous. Billy already told me I want tea and lemon. Like,
nah.
I got lemonade.
They got
tea, lemonade. That's what you got me addicted to now.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
And I got a honey bun too. But that's what's up. I wish you guys the best, much success in the Pit and Process podcast.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I think the world needs to hear people's stories, and that's why we did it, because I know you probably know this already, but like everything you said tonight was special, and we feel like, there's somebody out there that needs to know, what you went through. And it's like with the company sharing best practices, finding out what worked for you, like Demetri said, what worked for me, because what you may say at a very moment may help save someone's life. It may help them continue to push forward. And that's what our pastor did. She talked about the process. She like would not stop talking about the process all the time. Like that was one of her favorite words, and it's like, I understand now why she did it, and we want everyone to know about what she taught us. And it's also a way to keep her legacy going too,
Yeah.
Feel like, what she taught is so relevant today. You know what I mean? So it's like, we got to get this word out. It's also a way for others to hear what she taught us. And we're going to, bring a whole different spin to it, and, we're not in the pulpit preaching, but we know this is going to help really impact lives, So we're just grateful you came on. And I was encouraged by a lot of stuff you said tonight. So, yeah.
I appreciate it.
I think it's important too, because especially like the generations that's coming up behind us and behind them, it's like they don't, technology has taken the process out of a lot. You can, no shade to Amazon, but you can get your stuff in 2 days. Before you can get it for 2 weeks.
Be me delivering it.
Before you can get it in before Prime, you was waiting like a week and a half before your package came.
That's
you
true.
know, now you can get it 2 days, and then sometimes you can get it the same day.
Same day.
We
All depends how I feel.
10
right.
p.m.
The way technology is set up is taking the process out of a lot. So the kids that's growing up now, they don't know like they're reading on, they don't even know what paper feel like because everything is digital. So it's like it's taking out the process. So then when they get thrust into, I was watching Kevin Hart, he had this I don't know where I saw that, but his last movie, I think it was a Fatherhood, the Netflix.
Yeah, that was a good one.
His kids was on, his actual children were on the set with him. And he was just like, learn the system and learn this. And he had them following the camera and they was cleaning up on the set. They was actually working. And you see, his daughter was just like, oh my God, this don't take all that. But he was just like, yeah, I recognize that I've given them, like, look where they grew up. They didn't know nothing about no North Philly. Like, look where these kids grew up. Look at them. Like, look at the house. This is normal to them. Lamborghinis, suicide doors, pools in your yard, that's normal to them. It ain't normal to me, but it's normal. That's normal to them. So he was just like, he had to put them in a process so that you learn that everything that we have, I have to work for it. So, and it's showing them the multiple layers to what a film is. And now like his daughter is talking about going into film, not even as an actress, but like, no, Dad, I want to run this. How would she know that?
Right.
Now this girl already, however old she is, like 15, 16, 17, in her mind, she's already like, I'm gonna run a production set. Like, you can't pay kids nowadays to want to run anything but their mouth. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I understand, I always call her grandma. So I understand past the grandma who wanted us to know and embedded it in your heads that no, you got to go through a process. Everybody want to be great. Everything great, went through something, and we don't want to go through nothing. And the next generation sure as heck. So we won't be able to understand or pressure. Yeah, they don't understand pressure. That's why depression is so high. You can't withstand the pressure because everything is just like, here you go. And then now you got to actually own up to something, answer to something, something's not going your way. Okay, the pressure's on. When I can't handle that, that's when depression kicks in. And stuff is in your mind and you got to take medications. It's a whole thing. So I feel like understanding the process and knowing that the process is not a problem and not to be scared of the process. Like, I welcome it. Like, when I notice something is a challenge, I'm like, all right, let's get out the notebook and the pen. Like, I'm ready because, and when the pressure gets greater, that means you're closer. So it's just like, they need to know that, and kids need to know that. That's why we're like that with, we can use Naira and Deshaun, for example. It's just like, nobody give me, you want them sneakers? Now you know how much it costs. You got to together, and you realize, so that it sounds different when you come out your mouth and say, Mom, can you buy me? Because you know that's $100, especially the people on every day. So you know how much this costs when you have to pay for it. So I feel like this is necessary, if you will, because people don't understand the value of the process and the value of the pit. It's both are an experience. And you don't enjoy it in the moment, but my God, if you make it through the other side, you sit back and be like, I'll do it again. Anybody I know, like if you ask 50 Cent, would he get shot again to be where he is today? The fool will line up to get shot however many times he get shot. Just because it showed him something. I know people that went to jail that say they will go back to jail because now they're out and they're a totally different person. So I feel like this is necessary for our generation and other generations because, we get spoiled sometimes too, but we like, come on, like, I've been doing this too long, like something's supposed to happen. And then we got to own it when we realize we didn't put the work in. You want the GED or diploma all you want. You got to go to class. You know what I'm saying? You got to put the work in. They're not going to give it to you. So I think that this is necessary for the generations because people are quitting and giving up. They throwing in the towel. They're like, and people are walking away from God because he's not a genie. and you can't make a wish, and he opens the sky and shower it. Like people are just, yeah, people are just walking away like God ain't listening. No, he ain't the Make-A-Wish Foundation. You know what I'm saying? So I think that you guys should continue with it and see what other doors God opens up as a result of your obedience.
I appreciate it.
Likewise, thank you. Appreciate it for sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. You know, and we gotta have you back again because I think that the things you touched on that we got, I think, expound upon. You know, maybe in a different capacity. You know, because you definitely said a lot of stuff. I think that we could probably go on about. So I mean, I'd love to have you back at a different time. You know, whatever time permits. But thank you so much for coming on, and we definitely appreciate you for sure.
I say we wait till you get in the cop car and you drive around and have us in the cop car. Well, we be on the air, you drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Yeah, he'll do it. Yeah.
Billy said he don't want no parts.
Yeah,
Around.
I'm gonna hold off on that. You're my man, but I can't.
Billy said, "This is Demetrius. This is his fantasy. He wants to buy around."
Yeah.
He got the window make a what is it? Cops video.
That's what we watch, right?
The Pit and Podcast Cops Edition.
Cops Edition.
Hey, that's a good one. We should do that with something.
Definitely. Anytime you guys have me, I'll be back. Thank you guys.
Hey,
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, you have a good one.
Okay.
You too.